Welcome to this how-to, application volume group for Oracle. What's new and why it matters. Adding data protection volumes. We are introducing a new key ability to application volume group for Oracle. Create data protection volumes using the same optimized workflow we are used to for primary application volume groups and adhering to the same anti-affinity and affinity rules for volume placement. This ensures that DR data volumes and DR log volumes do not share storage endpoints to reduce network contention in the Azure VM running the Oracle database. Optional backup and binary volumes will share a single storage endpoint as they do not compete for network I/O to the Azure NetApp Files volumes. The resulting data protection volume layout makes it more practical to use for failing overproduction from the main volume group to the DR volume group in case of an unforeseen outage. The resulting data protection volumes need to be authorized for replication against the production volumes, just like other cross-zone or cross-region replication relationships require. AVG for Oracle uses an anti-affinity rules to place data and log volumes on separate storage endpoints, IP addresses. Backup and logs are deployed on the same storage endpoint as they do not compete for network bandwidth. The same rules are applied to the layout of data protection volumes. The data protection volumes are mapped to the source volumes as per this table. The protection volumes are prepended with DR in their volume names for easy identification and management. Note that replicating the database volumes doubles the ANF storage consumption. The protection volumes can be in a standard service level capacity pool during normal operation and may need to be upgraded to a premium or ultra service level capacity pool upon a failover to support the database performance. Moving volumes to the flexible service level is not supported, but if flexible service level was selected during volume creation, the throughput level for the volumes can be adjusted from low throughput during normal operation to adequate higher throughput in failover scenarios. Now let's see what this looks like in practice. Sean Luce will guide us through the process in the following demo. The floor is yours, Sean.
Okay, so here we are in the Azure portal. You can see we have two NetApp accounts. We have one NetApp account in East US 2. That is going to be our primary or source. And we also have a NetApp account in Central US. That's going to be our target. If we look at East US 2, you can see that we have a single Oracle application volume group, and that volume group has 6 volumes. For this example, I only used 2 data volumes, but in a customer scenario, they may have up to 8 data volumes. And we'll just take a look at each volume and show that there is currently no replication. And now we'll take a look at Central US. And we'll click on Application Volume Groups. And we can see that there are no application volume groups as of right now. And there are also no volumes created at this time. So now we'll switch over to Postman. This is the API client I chose to use. Obviously, you can use any API client of your choice. Postman does allow you to define variables. So I'm using these variables as secrets. That way I'm hiding my subscription IDs and other sensitive information. So the first thing we have to do is get the bearer token. This is just Azure's authorization process in order to authenticate to the Azure Resource API. And now we're going to look at our API call, which will create the cross-region replication of our AVG for Oracle from East US 2 to Central US. So you can see here our URL. Important that the API version is 2025-01-01. And then this is going to be the name of our application volume group, CRR AVG from API test. And then here's our actual payload or our body that we are sending to the API. And really what this is an array of volumes. In this case, it is an array of data protection volumes. So there's going to be a one-to-one relationship for our source volumes and our destination volumes. And the unique part about this API call is that it's going to have a data protection block within the body. So you can see here our volume type is data protection. And then we also include the data protection JSON object here, which includes the endpoint type of destination, the remote volume resource ID. This is going to be our source resource ID of each volume. And then our replication schedule. In this case, I chose hourly for all of the schedules. And we're essentially just repeating this block for each of our 6 volumes. I also prepended all of the volume names with DR for disaster recovery and hyphen. So now that we have our body defined and our URL defined, we can send this using the put command. And you can see the API has accepted our request with a 201 status. And once the Azure ARM API accepts our API request, you will have to wait about 10 minutes for the application volume group and associated destination volumes to be created. So now you can see we have our application volume group. It has 6 volumes. So now let's take a look at one of these destination volumes. And if we go to replication, we can see that this endpoint type is a destination. However, the volume replication has not yet been authorized. So now we'll take the resource ID of the destination volume, and we'll go back to the source volume, and we'll use the authorization process to authorize the replication. This will need to be done for all 6 volumes. So you can see here, we're going to the backup source, clicking on replication, and then clicking the authorize button and pasting in our destination volume resource ID. Within a minute or two, you can now see that we've successfully authorized the volume replication. And a few more minutes later, our volume is now mirrored and in a healthy state.
Thanks, Sean. The resulting volume layout in this scenario with 2 data volumes will look like this. We have the primary data volumes in application volume group 1, and once we add the DR volumes, the same volume layout is established in the second zone or in a second region. We observe that Azure NetApp Files volume replication is asynchronous. So in order not to lose any transactions upon a failover to the DR volumes, please use DataGuard to replicate the logs to the DR location. In summary, you can now create the data protection volumes for replicating Azure NetApp Files application volume group for Oracle using the same known optimized workflow and with a resulting layout that enables the same performance as the source database that is being protected. Cost can be saved by putting the DR volumes in a capacity pool of the standard service level for normal operation. In a failover scenario, you can upgrade the performance of the DR volumes by moving them to a capacity pool with the required service level to support the throughput required. Note, for zero data loss protection, use DataGuard to replicate the redo log so you can roll forward the latest transaction when a failover occurs. Failover your Oracle database to a different zone or region with confidence. For more information on creating application volume groups for Oracle with data protection volumes, visit the Application Volume Group for Oracle Deploy Volume page by scanning this QR code or by copying this link in your browser. Thank you for watching this how-to.